Brand identity is when the visible elements of media products interconnect and together identify and distinguish the brand in the consumer's mind. I ensured that I bear this in mind when creating all three products, as such recognition from the audience will lead to popularity, a widening fan base, thus an increase of financial success for the artist. I want my audience to look at my products and instantly recognise the artist, and I do think that I have achieved this, and thus the combination of the three products are effective. My products are not separate, but rather tied together in a cloak of corporate identity. The first feature that creates synergy across all three texts is that of font. My font choice of Verdana is consistently used across all of my products, in the titles of the music video, and throughout both the digipack and the website. I have explained the use of such font earlier on in the blog. Block lettering that represents the masculinity and aggression of grime artists. But more importantly, there is no text that differs from the font. Therefore, this consistent feature is heavily reinforcing brand identity and leading to a sense of strong recognition between the products and the audience. The track listing on the back panel of my digipack may look slightly different in terms of font, and may appear to be undermining brand identity. However, the font is still actually Verdana, but with kerning altered, and it more compressed in order for this vital element to stand out from the other elements in the eyes of the audience. Thus, despite a different style, the font remains a feature that ties all of my products together, a feature that contributes to their synergy. My use of colour is another feature that reinforces the clear sense of brand identity that is so apparent across all three of my products. I challenged the convention of using an urban location in my music video, as I have already mentioned. However, what this meant for my product was a location of a suburban environment characterised by green trees and bushes. More specifically, gardens, tree-lined streets and a pale green front door, with bushes either side. The colour green, therefore, was consistent throughout the music video, and the connotation of this, thus coinciding with Barth's theory of semiology, was a suburban setting that is indicative of middle-class life and a complete contrast with the gritty urban life seen in the grime genre. Within the music video, greys also feature, seen in the paths and pavements shown throughout, and more significantly, the pavement of which the girl dies on at the end of the video. Greens and greys are thus colours that make up much of the product, and this is reflected in the colour schemes of both my ancillary texts. The front panel is made up of predominantly green leafery and thus reflects such colour that is depicted in the video. The greys in his jumper and the very pale greys of the artist's name and album name equally strengthen the synergy of colour between the products. The spine also exhibits such a colour scheme. When looking at the back panel, there includes various shades of grey, dark in the pavement, lighter on the card she is holding, and dark again in the writing. Despite such varied shades, it is the greens and greys that are recognisable colours when looking at the product. It's evident that my use of colour has synergised all three of my products when you look at the consistent use of greens and greys on my artist's website. The digipack features heavily on all pages of my website, both as the background with a reduced opacity, as well as an image of the actual digipack itself. The music video also features, thus the colours mentioned in these products inevitably come through in the website. Greens and greys in my website are also apparent in the grey background strips and the green background of the tour dates feature. Colour in my products is therefore a definite source of brand identity and is reinforcing the recognition between products. It's also important to note the role of imagery in the synergy and brand identity of my products. The digipack's front panel and website utilise the same imagery, and thus the synergy here is obvious. However, it is how this coincides with my music video that truly reinforces brand identity. The location of the front panel of the digipack, and thus the location of the imagery on the website, is taken from a shot from the music video itself. Stood amongst a corner of greenery, it is here that the boy lip syncs, as well as poses for the digipack. This location is thus identifiable across all products, linking all three together. But it's also important to look at the boy himself on the website and front panel when looking at the creation of synergy across all three texts. Firstly, he is wearing the same costume as he is in the video, which is reinforcing his brand image, his actual look as an artist, subsequently recognisable. In addition, he is also clutching at the photo album in both ancillary texts. This coincides heavily with the music video, where it is this album that actually forms the basis This coincides heavily with the music video, where it is this album that actually forms the basis of the narrative. Him going through it, reminiscing the past, whilst the girl's current life is woven through. Both ancillary texts thus feature this piece of imagery that actually makes up the video, hence recognition across products is undeniable. The inside panels of the digipack reinforce this further, as they cause the product to open and mimic said photo album. This ancillary product is thus almost becoming the prop in the music video, which not only makes the poignant narrative deeply personal for the audience, as they feel like they are looking at the item that is causing the boy such sadness, but also means that through the use of imagery, there is very strong brand identity and high recognition in the eyes of the audience. When discussing imagery as the source of brand identity, it's also important to look at the connection between the back panel of my digipack and the music video. In the digipack, she is limply holding the track listing, her arm lying on a pavement. This has been taken from the final shot of the music video, where she is holding a photo of her and him as she lies on the ground after dying due to her drug addiction. It's a very important shot that sticks in the audience's mind, not just because it's the last thing they see, but also adds another saddening element to the narrative, as it shows that despite the drug abuse, she never forgot about him and still treasured their previous friendship. The recognition between the products and thus the reinforcement of brand identity is even greater, as it is a shot that resonates with the audience, and the similar imagery will easily be identified on the digipack. There is yet another element of synergy between my products, and this comes from the logo. I utilise the artist logo across the back panel of my digipack and the header of the website. It's a visual element that becomes associated with the artist, thus to have it featured on the ancillary products ensures that the audience will instantly recognise them. I did not include this logo in the music video. In my opinion, this does not weaken the brand identity, as the inclusion of a logo was not a convention that I identified in the research and planning. I did not see other grime artists have this feature in their videos, thus to run true to the genre, I didn't either. However, this does not take away from the fact that the logo on the ancillary products does create an element of synergy between the two, and perhaps in the future, to reinforce brand identity even further, I may challenge conventions and insert a logo into the music video. Wording is another element that reinforces brand identity between my products. This can be seen in the actual layout of the wording, especially in regards to the artist name and album name. Across all three products, the layout of these elements is consistent, with the artist name placed directly above the album in a larger font. This consistency means this feature becomes recognisable to the audience, the products displaying even greater synergy, and thus sales will inevitably increase. It's also important to mention that the wording within the website also communicates the genre of the music video. In this ancillary product, I adopted a mode of address that audiences of grime are familiar with, using slang terminology that typical grime audiences can identify with. For example, saying, "Nines, the freshest artist on the grime scene," and "Nines, back with another banger." Thus, my website communicates the genre of the website by utilising urban language that is used by grime artists and their audiences alike. On the whole, my website and digipack both communicate the genre of the music video, as these ancillary texts use all the conventions that run true to the grime genre. As I have previously mentioned, it was using these conventions that would cause the products to appeal to my audience, who purchase grime products normally, and thus, with mine looking similar, they will want to consume the products, an element of familiarity. This is also showing how my digipack and website will sell to the audience. The digipack will sell the album as it's a professional product. It has strong links with the music video and all necessary conventions, like a barcode, parental advisor, explicit content sticker, etc., that all ensures the audience will purchase it. They will recognise it as a legitimate professional product. My website will sell the digipack as it promotes the product across all pages and includes various links that navigate the audience to purchase it. Such links are persuasive, like "Get it here" and "New album" in bold capital lettering. Thus, synergy can also be seen in that they intertwine together by promoting and selling the other.